There are shows with psychics,
And there are shows with doctors.
but there's no show like The Psychic and the Doc.
Your practical paranormal power unleashed.
This show synthesizes the talents of world-class medium Mark Anthony, the psychic lawyer, psychic explorer,
And street smart spiritualist, behavioral psychologist, Dr. Pat Baccili. All subjects are on the table and no topic is taboo. Inspiration, insight.
action, and fun as Mark Anthony connects callers with loved ones in spirit.
In tandem with Dr. Pat's fresh, no-nonsense, street smart, intuitive insights. And she is hilarious.
Extraordinary problems
Require extraordinary solutions, which may come from this side
or the other side. This is The Psychic.
and the doc. And it starts now. Welcome, everyone, to The Psychic and the Doc here on the Transformation Network. I'm Mark Anthony, JD, Psychic Explorer, and I'm here with my Sagittarian co-host, Dr. Pat Baccili. So, yeah, we are in the astrological sign of Sagittarius. Dr. Pat is a Sagittarius, and the theme of tonight's show is finding light in the darkness. And, you know, this really fits Dr. Pat's entire life, because she has been a trailblazer through a lot of really dark and funky, gunky stuff, yet she found the light at the end of the tunnel, and it wasn't a train headed right at her. And, you know, Dr. Pat, finding light in the darkness, a lot of people, especially this time of year, they're dealing with depression, with grief, the loss of a loved one, and the holidays. And Hanukkah, which is a festival of light, starts on Monday, December 14th. And then, of course, Christmas is coming up, and Kwanzaa, and all of which are about light in the darkness. But you really, really found the light in the darkness. And wouldn't you say that for people who feel that they're immersed in darkness, that you have to, it's up to you. You can't just sit there and or wait for somebody else to come rescue you in the darkness. You're the one that has to find that light. What do you say about that?
You know, I think it's a combination of things. I think that we get the darkness so that we can find ourselves and we can find the light. You know, it's interesting. You can't have one without the other. Some people say, they say, you know, those two are the strangest bedfellows, but the most important. You know, it's kind of like the twins. You're twins. They're twins. They actually are twins.
Yeah.
And they have a very specific purpose. But the darkness and the shadow side, or whatever people call it, I like to call it exactly what you did. It is the darkness, and it feels like the darkness. And that's why we do the show. You see, we don't hide behind the notion of, you know, the world being like everything for everybody is going to happen, always great. Now, this is the Transformation Network, and it is positive centric. But part of the positive centric part of nature is so that everyone could get a sense of how optimism really works. Or they get to say hi to Jessica back there, walking in the door. Jessica, it's cute. But here's the thing. I want to just say to everyone that's experiencing grief, there's not quite anything like it. I think in the world of psychology, we try to put things in boxes. You know, we try to put in, oh, get over it. Grief is a cycle. You know, Kubler-Ross did not meant for that model. Kubler-Ross was talking about people dying.
Yeah.
She was not talking about people living. But you see, we took that model, and for some people it works. And I think what we're really talking about today is the light and helping people find the light. Because have you ever been in a super really dark place and lit a match or a lighter? Have you ever seen what happens to the darkness when you do that, Mark?
Boom, it's gone.
That's the power of today's show, isn't it?
It is. And there's an old saying in the spiritual realm that the deepest darkness cannot withstand even one candle. And it's true. Like you said, I've been in very dark places and caves, and 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 on paranormal investigations, and you light a match or a small flashlight, and it's just amazing. So the light is more powerful, although the darkness seems so pervasive, and it affects our moods, it affects your disposition. And so, taking it out of just physical light and physical darkness, if you go into your moods, it's real easy to succumb to the darkness until you find that inner light, that reason that makes you want to live, that makes you want to get out of bed. Because we're talking a lot about grief, in the wake of the loss of a loved one, and both Dr. Pat and I, obviously, with this show and in our separate practices, we deal a lot with people coping with the loss of a loved one. We do a lot of work with Helping Parents Heal, a beautiful organization. But when you're in that dark funk of the depression, of grief, of losing a loved one, and there are days you don't even want to get out of bed. Sometimes finding the light is simply getting up and getting dressed. And that may not sound like a big accomplishment, but for somebody who is so sad that you don't even feel like that, you want to die, but overcoming that to get up, clean yourself up, put on your clothes, sometimes that is the candle in that deep dark cave.
One of the things I love to do, and it's really interesting, is that, music has always been a trigger one way or the other. And one of the things I say to folks that are in a really deep, dark place is I often say to them, I ask them, what kind of music are you listening to? And because I know from my own past, one of the things that I don't think I ever learned really was, if you're not feeling chipper, if you ain't feeling happy, well, you don't want to be listened to. You just don't want to listen to Juice Newton sing it, "Break It to Me Gently," or you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
or unbreak my heart, or you know what I'm saying. I mean, put on a Chipmunk song or something. But it's hard not to do that, because sometimes we want to commiserate with the energy of ourselves, and
Yeah.
music is a way to commiserate with the energy of ourselves and not even knowing it. It's almost like the subconscious says, "Hey now, girlfriend, guess what, I'm lonely here. I want you to get something else for me to feel much better." But that loneliness within inside of you doesn't want to feel better. It wants to feel comfortable. And in order to move from that place, you do have to go to a place of discomfort. You know,
Yes.
talking about raising up. I mean, I had a complete meltdown today. I really did. I found out today what my trigger is. I really did find out today, and it's so I can't curse. But if I had to curse with my truck driver dad's language right now, I found what my trigger is. It's kindness. It's if I don't get a sense of kindness, it's not even respect. I used to think it was respect. I did a whole 10-year study on respect, but it's really not. Today I realized what it was. I want to be gentle to the people I love, and I want the people that I love to be gentle, regardless if the freaking sky is falling in. But I'm not the greatest at helping with that situation. Do you want to know why? Because
Yeah.
those of us come from places of woundedness. We didn't have a show like this. So we work at it all the time. We work at things in our lives. And Mark, when you do a show and we do the readings, and we had a ton of people calling in today, and we're going to get right to the phone. We're not going to really keep you all waiting very long. But we do our best to be kind. And
Yes.
yet at the same time, you could also be firm. Two things can operate at the same time. You can be kind and still deliver tough messages. And I got to tell you, when you're in a 12-step program, you don't always get a sponsor that does both of those things. Sometimes you get a sponsor and kindness. I mean, honestly, if you mention the K word, I did that once to a sponsor and she fired me on the spot. But you have to find the light within. It
Yes.
doesn't matter what it is. You know, Mark, how many people have you talked to where they've been given a sort of prescription? Let me just give you an example. You talk to people and they say, you know, I went to therapy and I went to my grief and I went here and I went to my husband, I went to my own. And you know what they told me to do? They told me to read positive books. And they honestly, if ask me what I do when I'm down a court. Go ahead. Ask me what
All
I turn
right.
on the TV. Go
What do
ahead.
you
Come
what
on
do
now.
you do when
I
you're down
know
in the dumps? What do you watch?
you're gonna watch something like Sound of Music, right? You and Lynn are gonna watch Sound of Music, something like that. I'm gonna turn on Resident Evil 5. That's what I'm gonna turn on. Or I'm gonna watch the movie The Thing, 1953, the movie A Thing. I've
The
seen it a
Thing
hundred
with
times.
James Arness is the
Oh
thing.
my God, as
That
the
oh my
thing,
God. That
the
yeah.
thing.
That made him a big star, James Arness. It was
And
his
you never
first
saw his
role.
face.
You never saw his
He
face.
never
Well,
said a word. He said,
he was like
"Ugh."
6'6", and he was the monster, and
Oh my God. So we have to honor people no matter where they are. And you know, part of this is what we say to people. My sister died on a hospital floor at about 450 pounds or more. And the grief and the heartache from what my dad did to her is unconscionable. But I loved her. I loved her. If she wanted to sit there and eat a damn apple pie with the ice cream and throw some sausage and meatballs and spaghetti on it, I loved her. So the way you find the light is stop judging yourself first. That's what we need to help people with tonight, Mark, don't you think?
yes. I mean, think I was reading something recently. It said, think how much you self-denigrate, how your self-talk is, oh, I'm not this, I don't look like this, I haven't accomplished that. And it said, look where it's brought you. Now, imagine if what you did was say positive things to yourself. And I thought, oh, that's brilliant. Instead of saying, oh, I'm not this, how about, well, here's the things that I am. You know, I'm powerful. I'm self-confident. I've got a good sense of humor. People seem to like me. I get along with why, start reinforcing the positive things about yourself instead of finding something negative to say. Because when you start saying negative things to yourself, what you're doing is recreating the negative criticisms, the bullying, that were hammered into you when you were a child and in your early developmental stages. And it's time to stop that and realize that was then, this is
This is
now,
the
and I'm pretty damn cool.
I know I got to make 100 amends to my best friend Linda because I'm telling you, this part of my life right now is really extraordinarily positive. It is fresh start, everything about it. But I let the pressure of a timeline get to me. And that's outside of my Sagittarius nature. So I'm going to blame it on my Capricorn moon. Mark, let's take a short break. When we come back, we're right on the phones. Hey, everybody, welcome back. You are listening to The Psychic and the Doc. Excuse me, my little head's cut off here because I'm in a different location. I will be in a very different location next week for those of you, but I want to welcome you to the show. Before we get to the phones and Sierra's going to tell us who we have, Mark, what is the best way for people to find out about you? Because we always
Please,
forget to do that.
yeah, thank you, Dr. Pat. Please go to my website, which is afterlifefrequency.com. Afterlifefrequency.com, just like my latest book, Afterlife Frequency. And this is a holiday season. And if you or someone who is suffering with the loss of a loved one, I recommend the ideal gifts are going to be my books. Never Letting Go, which is a journey through grief, Evidence of Eternity, which starts explaining the science of spirit contact and how that can help you. And my latest book, The Afterlife Frequency, My books are endorsed by the top afterlife research scientists in the world. They're recommended by hospices and grief counselors worldwide. If you want to find out about ordering those, please visit my website, which is afterlifefrequency.com. You can also find them at all fine bookstores. If you're in Houston, Body, Mind, and Soul. If you're in Denver, for heaven's sake, I mean, I could go on and on. I know they're at the Edgar Casey bookstore in Virginia Beach, and there are so many other places, Aquarian Dreams in Florida. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
And then of course in Seattle, East West
East West
Books,
Books. Yeah.
East West Books. But because and Barnes and Noble and Books a Million, they're everywhere. And the thing is, when people read these books, it helps get them. It's a bit of the light in the darkness of the long night of sorrow. So please visit my website, afterlifefrequency.com, sign up for my newsletter, and I'll be here every week with Dr. Pat. And so, Dr. Pat, what do you say? Oh, and everybody, I also want to talk about another website, which is unstuckable.com, just like it sounds, unstuckable. That's Dr. Pat's website.
And that is under maintenance for you all because we're sprucing it up for the 2026 year one, the year of the one. Oh,
Fantastic.
go,
Let's
Sierra.
go.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, Mark. Sierra, who do we have?
Up first, we have Robert from California. Robert, you are live.
Hi, Robert. Welcome to the show. How can we help you?
Hi, Dr. Pat. Hi, Mark. I lost a family member 2 weeks ago. Should I say more?
Say so. First, let us say how sorry we are to hear about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Thank
Robert,
you.
excuse me, I'm getting over a bit of a cold. Let me open up to frequency. Is this a male? Is this a male energy, a male family
Yes.
member? Okay, because when I'm listening and hearing your voice, I'm getting a male spirit coming through. And now you got to realize you have several people in spirit that want to talk to you, and sometimes the person that you want to hear from the most may not be the first one to step forward. So let me describe this gentleman. I'm getting a lot of pain in my rib cage, my chest area. I'm also getting this difficult sensation in my mouth, my throat, and this terrible metallic bitter taste in my mouth. Now, the metallic bitter taste, Robert, that could be medications, that could be seizures, convulsions. Because when I get a metallic taste, it can mean three different things. Sometimes it's gunshot, but it can also mean medications, and it can also be an indicator of neurological issues or seizures, convulsions. But what I'm getting with this gentleman is his passing doesn't seem like it just came out of the blue. It seemed like it was a lot of complicated conditions, like one was piling on top of the other. And I get this complete sense of exhaustion that he was battling this. I'm also getting a lot of pain in my low back, and issues in his urinary tract. So to recap, mouth, esophagus, throat, chest heaviness, difficulty breathing. I'm getting issues as well with his either kidneys or hips, because the kidneys sit right above the hips, and I'm getting difficulties with his bladder and urinary tract. Does any of this make sense to you in any way?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on. I'm laughing now because I'm sorry, I'm not laughing because you lost somebody. I'm laughing because the spirit is cracking me up. And he said he wants you to start smiling. Now, obviously, it's only been 2 weeks and it's really hard to want to start smiling, but he's giving me a song. And when I say giving me a song, spirits scan my brain and they pick things out of it. And I'm hearing YMCA, da da da, YMCA. Remember that song? We've all heard that song. Now,
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
song, I always got to be a little bit careful with that one because that could mean, well, maybe you were here, remember the YMCA, or maybe you like working out. It could also be a reference to folks in the LGBT community, or hey, maybe we played it at somebody's wedding. But he's giving me that song and he is just cracking up. And he is, this guy, he wants you to know he feels fine now. He feels fine. All right. Is there anything with dancing, working out, YMCA, anything there makes sense to you in any way?
Well, he was a musician, and so yeah, his you know was on stage a lot with music, and that does make sense. And he had brain cancer, and he was in the hospital for about 5 months. So all of those things you described were what was happening to him in the hospital.
So that's why he says, I feel fine. And that's one of those songs like, you get up and you want to start dancing and jumping around.
Yeah.
Now, he said, thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your compassion. Thank you for being there. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your compassion. And he keeps saying, thank you for your well wishes, your well wishes. Now, that's an interesting thing. He keeps saying, thank you for your well wishes. And what he's telling me about you, Robert, is even though he knew that you knew that he knew that he was dying, you always were working to give him a reason to survive. And he said, you always propped me up. He said, you were always my pillar of strength, and I love you very much.
That's nice.
Okay, Dr. Pat.
Thank you, Mark.
Oh.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Mark, I wanted to ask Mark you a question, but also Robert. Robert, thank you so much for calling in. You know, we were talking before the show started on sometimes it's hard to find the words. And obviously, this is someone that you miss. That's the sense I'm getting. Is that correct?
My brother, my younger brother.
It's your younger brother. Yeah, I try to be very diplomatic on the show, but I had a sense it was. And did you hear? I don't know if you heard me talk about my sister earlier, but
Yes, I did.
it was hard for me to describe that without just completely breaking up right now. And actually, it's tough. But we
Yeah.
never forget the love, no matter what we go through,
Right.
no matter how many arguments we may have, no matter how many points in time in our lives. And I made a joke about my sister where I'm like, Jesus, come on, Chickie, do you got to eat that third meatball Parmesan sandwich right there? Come on now. And, she's up there laughing, saying, I'm going to eat all the meatball parm I want. But we love them.
Yeah.
We love them, Robert. How
Yeah.
are you handling it? May I ask you?
Pretty well, because it was a really tough 2 years for him. I spent 3 months of it with him, and it was, like Mark said, it was inevitable, and he lasted longer than they said. And for the last few months, my sisters and I have just prayed for him to pass, to be out of the suffering. And you've answered 90%. I just would like the last 10% to know that he's with family and really okay.
All right.
Robert, who's Danny? Danny. I keep hearing it could be Danny, could be Donnie, but he keeps talking about Danny.
Danny. Well, it's kind of close to our last name.
That'll work. Okay. And for your privacy, you don't have to give your name over there, but as long as it's close, because a lot of times when names come through, like I was doing a reading for a gentleman and his son came through and I heard Keaton. He says, well, my son's name was Colton. Keaton Colton, close enough. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
if the
it's
name
very
is
close.
close, so then he's giving us his name.
A sign.
It's a sign. Yeah. No, sorry, I don't mean to laugh. It goes, good King Wenceslas on the feast of Stephen. All right, why is he singing Good King Wenceslas on the feast of Stephen?
Well, he's going to sing. That makes a lot of sense. He was a singer and guitar player and a performer and much loved. In fact, in the city he lived in, today is his day, designated by the city.
Wow.
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
In the city where he's from, today has been designated as his day by the mayor.
Oh, wow. So good King
Yeah, he is
Wenceslas
very
on
loved.
the Feast of Steve. I mean, of all the Christmas songs, that's the one that he's pulling out of my head. And that's not one I know all the lyrics to, but I know the melody. Da, 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 da. And the interesting thing is there is the crown of Saint Stephen, which was, it's a long story, but it was stolen by the Nazis from Vienna in World War II, and then it was replaced. And apparently, the crown has a cross on the top of it, which was bent. And I'm not sure if it got bent because what the Nazis did or it was bent. But he showed me this crown, this crown. So there's something about a crown, a cross, a name Stephen, Good King Wenceslas, that particular song. And this may not make sense right away, but it may hit you later
Mm-hmm.
on. But he keeps giving
Okay.
me like happy songs, because that's a pretty happy song, Good King Wenceslas. Da, 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 da. So,
Yes.
I
Yes.
know he
And
must have come in before we started the show, because I have no idea why I thought of Juice Newton, who lives in California. Juice Newton sing it, "Break It to Me Gently." I mean, I have no idea why that came up. So I think he was kind of teasing it before we even got on air here.
yeah. So
well,
so let
the other thing I
everybody
wanted,
know. Go ahead, Robert, please.
just the other thing I want to confirm was that he was very, very funny. So you said that earlier.
Yeah, I mean, he came in like first we're getting like how he died, and then he goes, "Oh, I'm laughing," and I was like, "I have to explain," because and sometimes when I'm doing readings for people, they go, "What do you mean you're laughing?" Because the spirits, when they come through, one of the first things they give me, Robert, is identifiers, and one of the initial things is I feel how they died. But you have to realize they're only doing that so we can identify who it is. He's not constantly reliving that because he knows as well as all of us, you're never going to forget how someone you love passed. And that's one of the first things a spirit will convey. And then he went right to his personality, and I just wanted to burst out laughing because he's hilarious. Okay. And he's
Yeah.
walking around in a bathrobe with a cigarette and a one of those cone hats that you'd put on like on a birthday party or on New Year's Eve, and these big furry slippers. Okay. Now, I know that
Wow.
sounds weird, but
Wow.
that's the image he's projecting to me.
Well, after 2 years in the hospital, 2 years ill and 5 months in the hospital, that sounds like the perfect thing to be wearing.
Absolutely. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry for your loss, and
Yeah, thank
I'm
you,
very,
Robert.
Thank you.
yeah, I'm honored to connect with him.
Thank you.
He's a great spirit.
Thank you. Thanks,
Yes, he
Robert.
is. And
Thank you.
thank you very, very much.
Oh,
You
God
bet.
bless you.
You bet. God bless you. Wow. Sierra.
Up next, we have Amanda from Connecticut.
Amanda.
You are live.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi, Dr. Pat.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm having a better moment. Thank you for asking. Should have called me 2 hours ago. No, just kidding. How can we
Oh,
help you? How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Well, we're
Well,
here to support you. What can we do?
I was wondering if you had any messages from my loved ones, especially my grandfather, if he's got any messages for myself, his granddaughter, and my daughter, his great granddaughter, and
all right, hold on,
a
hold
lot of
on,
my
hold
loved
on,
ones.
hold on, Amanda. You got to realize that spirit communication is not a Santa Claus wish list. Okay, because you're coming. All right, I want a message from my grandfather because I want him to tell me this, and tell you can't. You know, it doesn't work that way. This is not Google or Siri. Okay, what we're doing is we're communicating with another dimension. So let's see if we can get your grandfather through, then see what he has to say. Now, And I'm glad you have a good sense of humor. You're laughing because it's funny the way people come into spirit communication. Because we do live in the era of like I pick up my phone, I go Google, tell me this, and it does, and all that. But we're communicating with another reality, another dimension, what I call the afterlife frequency. And so I'm getting a male spirit coming through, and this spirit feels like he is connected to you through your female, through your mom's side of the family. Is that the grandfather you want to talk to?
No, I've only had one grandfather that I know on my dad's side that I'm asking you about. I didn't know my mom's dad.
Yes, but that doesn't mean he won't come through for you, okay? Because people say all the time, well, I don't know him. And it's like, guess what? He knows you. So I'm getting a male energy coming through. And with this gentleman, this guy that's coming through feels like he was quite a bit rather elderly when he passed. I'm getting late 80s, early 90s, very, very thin. So right before passing, and that could have been maybe he wasn't eating, or maybe that was his build. And I can actually see like the ribs, his ribs, meaning he was real
Yeah,
thin. Does that make sense?
that's the grandfather I'm asking you about. He was very thin at the end.
Okay. Okay. All right. So then that's the one we got. It's interesting the way he's tweaking your mom's side of the family, but so let's go with this. Now, what does he want you to know? He goes, what was that song? God, I'm getting a lot of songs like Pink Cadillac. What was that song, Dr. Pat? Pink Cadillac, a pink. And I'm hearing that
That
Billy
was the
Joel,
song. It was
Pink
called Pink
Cadillac.
Cadillac.
Yeah, he's. Now the funny thing is, and I remember when there used to be a cosmetics company, Mary Kay, and they would drive around in pink Cadillacs and sell
That's
cosmetics.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now you're
so
going old school on me right there.
yeah, that's like Eon. That's like back when Avon and all that. But he's showing me pink Cadillac, and he's driving around now in a pink Cadillac, and it's convertible with a white top, and the convertible's down. And he's driving around, and I swear it looks like he's driving down Collins Avenue in South Beach, Miami. And South Beach is the Art
He
Deco
lived in
district.
Florida. He had a convertible.
He what?
He had a white convertible. He had a
Oh,
white convertible at one point, and he lived in
okay.
Florida.
And he okay. It's funny because he showed me South Beach, which is where all the Art Deco
Yes,
architecture is.
yes,
That
he
makes
lived
sense?
on South Beach in Fort Brooke. Yes, that's where he lived, and I lived with him up until his passing.
Well, it's interesting
That's
because
where he sent me pictures.
oh, that is so cool. His projection of heaven is driving around in this styling pink Cadillac with the white convertible top on Collins Avenue. And of course, there's no traffic because in heaven they don't have traffic jams apparently. And he
And I did
is
go to
like,
Miami last year.
yeah. Now he's doing something really funny. He's taking his teeth out, and like when people get those joke
Yeah,
teeth that look like dentures, and they're going clack 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 clack,
he
and he's
he had false teeth all my life. He always took them
okay.
out.
Wow, he is
I get
coming
pictures.
through. Yeah, loud and clear. And he's going, "Doo, doo, 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 doo,
Yes,
doo,
he
doo."
is.
He goes, heaven to
Yep,
Amanda, heaven to Amanda. Doo, 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 doo. He goes, would you get a pair of new
yep. I
shoes
could see him
already?
doing hand
Would you
gestures.
get a pair of new shoes already? Doo, 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 doo. God, this guy is
Yep,
hilarious. All right, Amanda, what's with the new shoes? You're supposed to get some new shoes.
yeah. Everyone's on my case about new shoes. I've had the same shoes since I was pregnant and came home.
Well, he said it's heaven to Amanda. It's time to get some new shoes. I think we don't need too much
My boyfriend says the
interpretation.
same.
Oh my God, this is hilarious. All right, let me get another couple messages for returning over Dr. Pat. We're way too much fun with your grandfather communicating.
He was
Um,
fun.
did he have 3 or 4 grandchildren?
He had three. I was the only one that he was fully involved in. He was my that raised
Okay,
in a
because he
sense.
has like 3 or 4. So is it 3 including you, or 4 meaning 3 others in addition to you?
The 3 regular, and then I have my daughter that should have been his great granddaughter. There was 2 previous pregnancies of mine before he passed away.
Okay.
Years
All
prior,
right.
unless you
Because
talk about.
all right. So we got the 3 and the 4, but let me focus here what he's saying. And do you like mushrooms? I mean, not like,
I
psilocybin. I'm
just,
talking like the mushrooms you cook with,
yes, I
mushrooms.
will eat mushrooms on my pizza and omelets.
Yeah, he's talking about mushrooms. He said basically what he is telling me to say to you is every time you eat a mushroom and it makes you smile, think of me. Wow.
I think I get some vibe from it when I try to eat mushrooms. Like I get a happy feel.
Well, Dr. Pat, I'll turn it over to you. But remember we were talking about when we're in our funk and gunk, what do you
Yeah.
do? I
Yeah.
mean, I've never had, a spirit say, go eat mushrooms and think of me until right now, but that's working for Amanda. What's your take on all this, Dr. Pat?
No, I love it. I think this is it because you see, this is a happy place for you in calling in and look at what happened with this. This is obviously somebody you miss. And I love when
Yeah,
things come through. And sometimes life is about, come on now, get a new pair of shoes. It's that simple sometimes in life. And yet there's a different message to it. And I want to really play on this a little bit. How well do you treat yourself? Let me ask you that question.
I put everybody ahead of myself, and my boyfriend keeps telling me
Exactly.
to.
Exactly. Do you know in almost all of the old school fairy tale, Scroogey kind of movies, anything like that, even movies that represent different cultures, different races, the one thing that stands out to represent poverty is what do you think that is? Come on now.
Taking care of yourself. You don't take
The
care of yourself enough.
shoes. It's the shoes.
Shoes.
It's the shoes.
Oh,
It's the shoes. And you can see it where there are sacrifices made. How many movies you see where somebody points out the giant hole you got in your shoes. You understand? So
that
this is the message for you to step up to a bigger game and really take care of yourself here, right? And he's doing it in a kind of fun way. It isn't just about go get yourself a new pair of shoes. It get yourself 10 new pairs of shoes if you want. See, we're going into 2026 and it's a 1 year. This is a time to do something outrageous. Get yourself 2 pair of shoes. You got it?
got it.
I'm not kidding.
You
Maybe
know,
get yourself something to wear
you, you
because
know,
it sounds like you don't treat yourself, right, Mark?
yes, and Dr. Pat, you brought up a really good point about shoes. Whenever you walk into a job interview or a new social setting, your shoes tell everything about you. That was something that was really drilled into me both in college and law school when they were teaching us about interviewing and interviewing techniques. Make sure that if you don't have brand new shoes, at least the shoes you have, make sure they're polished, not scuffed up, because your shoes indicate not just socioeconomic status, but the amount of detail and attention you pay to yourself. And so, when Dr. Pat, you're saying, do you need new shoes? And get yourself 2 pairs of shoes. I think that that's very important. And your grandfather was most likely or is from the generation where they really put emphasis on shoes. Now, obviously, America is really into down dressing now, and I see people on TV and in interviews. They're coming in wearing sneakers and loose clothing in their interviews, and that may be part of their brand, but it also says a lot about them. I mean, if you're a big movie star, you can afford to do that. But for somebody who isn't, if you're walking into a new social setting, maybe a party, or if you're going for a job interview, you want to make sure you
I'm actually
give
going
that.
for one tomorrow.
You what?
I'm actually going to an interview tomorrow, and we're talking about the whole shoes and appearance the
Aha.
night before.
Interesting the way I started talking about that. Apparently, grandfather is back kicking us to make sure that your shoes look perfect.
Yeah, I'm going to up that game a little bit. You need to make sure you look stunning, special, match the interview, show up confidently, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? It
Okay.
isn't just about shoes. It's about you stepping fully into owning this position if you want it, right? Do you want the job?
Yes, I've been out for 6 months looking and looking and looking and a single mom. So
Okay,
Okay, let me throw in my two
go,
cents
Mark.
worth. Make sure that when you show up for the interview, that you have a copy of your resume. Do not assume that the interviewer will have a copy of your resume. And that's also an interviewing technique. Oh, I don't have a copy of your resume. Do you have one? To see if you're prepared. Secondly, make sure you have a pen with you and something to write with. Like maybe bring a small folder and have a couple copies of your resume in there and something to write with and a pen. And if you don't wear a watch, make sure that because they may ask you, well, what time is it? And that's another interviewing trick because they want to see if you're prepared and that you have a watch, in other words, that you can tell time, or you have your cell phone so you can tell time. Show up for the interview at least 15 minutes early. Don't show up a half hour, an hour early. They're going to think you're a weirdo. But 15 minutes early. None of this, oh, I couldn't find a parking space. Sorry, I'm 10 minutes late. When people did that when they were interviewing with me, they never got the job. I'll never forget one time there was this, I was interviewing for a secretary, and this woman came in and she had great credentials. And the whole time she had a pen like this and kept doing this the whole time because she was nervous. And I kept like asking her to like, questions, see if she'd put her pen down, and she kept doing this. And I didn't hire her because she was so nervous. She wasn't even aware she was clicking this pen the whole time. And the other attorney that was interviewing her with me was like, I thought I was gonna lose my mind. So you want to be comfortable, confident, make eye contact, make sure your shoes look good, you're wearing good outfit. Some people want to wear crosses and religious insignia. Don't do that because you don't know what the religious beliefs of the person interviewing you are. Like if you go in with a tie that says Jesus is Lord, well, you may believe Jesus is Lord, and that's wonderful to believe that. But, well, no, let me tell you, some people walk into situations like that. Avoid politics. If they try to get political, say, well, I always I don't get involved with political discussions because I see what happens in my own family and it gets everyone upset. You
Yeah.
know,
But the other thing here's the other thing I want you to think about with that. Anybody that brings any of that stuff up, you got to be yourself. But if they bring up the politics, just say, wow, isn't this an interesting world? You see, you'll never
I have to
get in
remember that.
trouble. You'll never get in trouble if you point out the obvious to the people that are unobviously unobvious. You just got to show up like you're showing up here today. You're a happy person. You just got to be, isn't this an interesting world?
I actually got
I'm gonna
another interview on Monday, so I'll take a this weekend.
I'm gonna ask you
Nice outfit. I gotta see the outfit though. How are we gonna see the outfit? No, I'm only kidding. I'm
I'm
only
gonna
kidding.
ask you an interview question, Amanda.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
What's
Uh-oh.
what do you consider your greatest strength?
Communication and customer service.
Very good. What do you consider your greatest weakness? See, I got you there. Now, I'll tell you how to handle that question, and it may not come up because, see, people get stunned. What's your greatest weakness? My father taught me this, and so I feel privileged being able to teach you this. If somebody asks you, what's your greatest drawback? What's your greatest weakness? Pause for a second and say, sometimes people think I'm too assertive. Now, if you said aggressive, that's a negative connotation, but assertive, sometimes people feel I'm too assertive. Assertive is a positive word. And so what you've done is you've taken a potentially negative question and turned it into a plus for you. See what I'm saying?
Okay, that's interesting. I'll have to replay this like before the interview to remember those key words.
Oh,
Yeah.
let me tell you, I've been on both sides of the interviewing table. I've been interviewed. God knows I've done enough auditions for producers and everything else, but I've also been the interviewer. And you ask questions like that, and like with your greatest strengths, make sure you have those. And you were good communication and customer service skills. You can also throw in, I get along. I get along with all types of people.
All right, I'm going to give you a couple
That's
questions. We
me.
only got a couple minutes left. So here's what happens if you're interviewing with me. I'm gonna chit chat for a little bit, for sure. Ask you if you want coffee or tea or anything like that. You might get asked, how's your day? How's it going? Right? Your answer is, I'm really thrilled to be here. So this is the high point of my day. And then you may get a question, look, where do you want to be in a year from now? What's your vision for your life? So the way to
Okay.
get around that is to tell the person what you love and what you're excited about and what you're grateful for in your life. And if they give you the opportunity for this job in a year from now, you want to be working at this job, loving this job, and knowing you're doing the best for the company and for yourself. See, that's a trap and a trick question, because they want you to, they're waiting for you to say, well, I interviewed somebody, they say, a year from now, I don't want to be here. I want to be opening up my own studio. I'm like, next. So they're going to ask you questions. Remember, it's a job interview. It's not a personal interview. But a year from now, maybe you want to move your way up in the company. You want to show them, you want to demonstrate to them how absolutely amazing you are. You want to show them that you could help the company. That's what a year looks like. And now, if they go really crazy and say, well, what about 5 years? The answer that you can give them is, look, I have a vision for myself, but right now, this is the most important moment of my life. You got it?
Got it.
Yeah. Now they're going to ask you, what's your hobby? I'm going to ask you, what's your hobby?
Being a mom to a 2-year-old beautiful daughter.
Yeah. So they're going to ask you, what's the most important thing in your life? Providing for my 2-year-old daughter, which I love.
Yeah, and say providing for my 2-year-old daughter, and that's why this job is so important to me.
Yeah.
Because if I will do a good job and be a great employee, and by being a great employee, that helps me be a great mom.
You got this. Don't even worry
You got
about it.
it. You
Okay.
got it. You
You
got it.
got it. You got it. We know you got it. You did great on this. This is Mark and I are tough. You did a really good job.
Oh, let me tell you, yeah, and we're on air. If we're in person, it'd be a lot more. I remember I used to work with this one attorney, and um, the people would come in, and he would say, and I'll give the G-rated version. He would say right up to them, he goes, "We do a lot of criminal defense work here. Does the F word bother you?" And he didn't say the F word. He says, "Does the word, F bother you?" And a lot of people look at us. I remember this one lady goes, she goes, "Well, I am a Christian, and it would." He goes, "Well, then you're not gonna blanking like it here." And the thing is, and it's no insult to people that are Christians or anything at all, but in that particular law firm at that time, we're dealing with cops, we're dealing with criminals, we're dealing with a lot. And let me tell you, the language was not always good. I remember this one secretary who was a Christian. She said, she brought in a fishbowl. She goes, every time somebody cusses, we're going to put 50 cents in here. And that attorney goes, then write a blanking check for blanking 500 blanking dollars and just stick it in there.
Oh my God. Hey, thank
So,
you so much
yeah.
for calling. Thank you so much for calling in. But I want you to remember one thing, and I want you to always remember this. No matter who you are, no matter what job you go, nothing is more important than your own personal integrity. Do not take a job and do not answer questions you don't want to answer. There's no job worth it. You got that?
Yep.
Got it. Thank you,
All
Dr.
right.
Pat, for all your
Yeah.
All
advice.
right. Yeah,
Have a happy
Amanda.
holiday. You got to call in. We got to know how it goes
Yeah.
next week. All right.
Yeah, let us know.
Okay.
All
Touch
right. Thank
base
you.
with us. God bless you, Amanda.
Yeah. And we got to run, everybody. We got another show coming up. Mark, thank you so much for today. And for all of you out there, it goes for everyone. Don't compromise who you are, not for a job, not for another person. Remember the truth of who you are. And when you show up in life, show up as you are, and always leave room to personal growth. We'll see you next time.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning into The Psychic in the Doc with Mark Anthony and me, Dr. Pat Baccili, right here on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Hey, look, come back next week so we can explore with you more of life's many challenges and learn from fascinating guests. And you know what? Even Mark and me. We'll connect you and discover insights from people in this life and from the afterlife. Extraordinary problems? Yeah, they do. They require extraordinary solutions. But step into the world of possibilities with us on The Psychic and the Doc. That's every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on TransformationTalkRadio.com. That's TransformationTalkRadio.com. And don't forget, we're also live face-to-face on Facebook.com, Transformation Talk Radio.